Fingers crossed. It works.
Says we're live.
Yes. With like a 20-second delay, which really freaks me out. Ah!
Yep, it's working. Do we have Terry yet?
Mm-mm.
Scroll down here. So maybe we'll give it another
Minute or two.
minute or two.
And real quick, I think I told you, but I got a test to take at 4:30, so I can
Yeah.
a little bit, but
Totally fine.
Maybe he should go first then when we
Yeah.
do our student introductions.
I think others might also have a 4:30. So if you do, go first.
I didn't realize I volunteered myself to go first.
Yes.
That's what you've done, Shane.
That's unfortunate.
You get to set the bar high, though.
Mm.
You guys should be used to talking about yourselves in these projects by now. You've been doing it all semester.
Yeah, I'm sick of it.
The last one, the last one.
Remember, a project is never finished. It's just over. You're just done with it, right?
Exactly.
You just run out of time
Yeah. And or funds, you know. But
and or funds.
Just like the cooking shows, hands up.
Yeah.
it's done. We need a buzzer, right? For the end of each project.
All right, it's 4:02, so maybe we can get started here.
Mhm.
Welcome to, what are we calling this event? Welcome to Capstone Fall 2020 in the Department of Critical Media Practices. These are media production students who are graduating, completing their capstone work. That is the culmination of what they've done over the last 4+ years in our program. It's been a really difficult time. It's been a very challenging semester in which to actually make a capstone project, but I think that the work that's on the showcase demonstrates our students' kind of agility and adaptability and the breadth of their media production skills and their artistry. From Ryan and Rand's acid western inspired by contemporary politics to Shane's music video and performance, and Elena's documentaries, George's web series, Ben's virtual reality project. So many different projects that we have to look at. Such a wide range of work that's produced out of our program that all these guys represent. So congratulations, and I'll let Sarah talk about her class.
Yeah, and also this is Eric. I'm Sarah. We had the honor of being the instructors for this semester's capstone, 2 sections of the capstone project class. My section produced, like Eric was saying, a really wide range types of projects. There was social and personal video documentaries. There was lens-based photography, archival photography, console photography, augmented reality, and audio project. There was several people were looking at how we as humans interact with nature. A lot of people were looking at how we as humans interact with each other. There was a lot of threads, I think, that we can probably trace through work in both sections. Sort of, not all entirely COVID driven, but of course that was some like ever present looming element for a lot of these students who really, I think, should all be proud of what they produced this semester. So yeah, I want to echo Eric's congratulations. And I think we will have a couple. So first we'll have Terry, our department chair, say a few words, and then we'll have Pat, our associate chair of undergrad for the department, say a few words. So Terry, you can take it away.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Eric. I wanted to just reach out and say a greetings to all and congratulate you on reaching this capstone moment in your academic and creative journeys. It's a very memorable moment, certainly for the historic times that you're in, but also you'll look back on this in your creative development and feel resonances through the rest of your life, I'm sure. I'd like to thank Sarah and Eric for their extraordinary work in organizing the show and supporting you all through the creation of this terrific body of work, which we're about to share. And I also would like to thank the faculty across the department who've extended themselves to new levels of support to our students through the pandemic. In the past several months, the classroom has, in some cases, become the one stable place where we've been able to gather and set aside our fears and anxieties and focus instead on our ideas, visions, and aspirations, transforming them into tangible artifacts. I would also like to thank our staff, especially Jason Nair, for going the extra mile daily to make equipment accessible, safe, and in good working order. I wish you all the best as we move through a season of darkness into the light, and we look forward to seeing your successes as you move on in your careers. Thank you very much. And thanks to Pat Clark too. Big piece of making this all go.
Well, yeah, thanks, Terry. And again, I want to firstly just congratulate all of you. It's really difficult to do at this particular moment, but I really hope in the coming days you get a chance to stop, look back a little bit, and see how far you've all come. Personally, I feel like I'm really lucky because I've got to work with a lot of you in the classroom at some point. So it's really, really great to get a chance to look at your work. And I love the fact that you guys are required to do a artist talk for all the work you've done, because I love the creative work. Don't get me wrong. It's awesome. But being able to listen to you guys articulate and speak about the work that you've done, why you wanted to do it, what you're hoping to share with the world, that is so amazing to hear from you, the semester that you're getting ready to leave and go out into the world and take your talents, your perspective, and make work that people are going to gravitate towards and to enjoy. I think, certainly for me, and I know that Sarah and Eric feel the same way. It's great to feel like you guys are going to go out and represent yourselves, represent your department, and have the ability to change the world with this craft. And that's a really cool thing to kind of be able to do. I know it's difficult to kind of feel that way right now because of, not only the extenuating circumstances of the world we live in currently, but you've also been a student for 4 years, right? You've dealt with classes, you've had to do deadlines, you've been working through, all kinds of stuff. And it's hard to take a deep breath, but I hope you get a chance to do that. I want to echo what Terry said and thank Sarah and Eric as well. This is a really challenging course to manage because you've got all these really great talented students with a huge variety of skill sets, right? And they've been able to work with you and support you. I really I hope you recognize how difficult that is to do, and they will serve as a great resource for you guys moving forward too. So we're really lucky that they were able to support you this semester. Again, we hope that you get to enjoy this exhibition. One of the greatest things I think for anybody is the opportunity to speak with and connect with artists and learn about their work. It's one thing to watch it; it's another thing to hear it from them. And so I hope you guys I'm looking forward to this portion just because we get a chance to hear from you. So I want to say congratulations again. I hope you guys feel confident in the things that you are going to do moving forward. I think you should. I think you have good things to say, and I think you have a great skill set to go out and change the world with these talents. And I hope you keep in touch. So congratulations again.
Yes, thank you so much, Terry and Pat. And now we would love to hear from each of you, capstone students. If you don't mind, we'll just sort of go through each student who's here from both of our sections. And if you could introduce yourself, tell us your name, and just give us a brief description of your project. And we can start with Shane, who is going to have to leave for a final. And then if anyone else is also going to have to hop off, you know, in whatever, for whatever reason, you know, feel free to go sooner rather than later, because we want to hear from everyone.
Well,
Take it away, Shane.
All right, sounds good. I'm Shane Cohen. Nice to see everybody. Thank you for coming. I guess we're here. We're somewhere. Anyway, I did a music video on a 2-part song that I made called Maybe. Part 1 is kind of very dark and sinister, and part 2 is very much the opposite. And what I was looking to portray through this project was kind of the duality of uncertainty, in that I think we all are we realize it's a pretty anxious time, but there's 2 ways that we can react to that. We can go down the rabbit hole of negativity, or we can kind of go the other way and say, well, maybe it will be okay, and maybe it doesn't matter, and maybe that's gonna be just fine. So that was kind of the overarching theme that I had with this project. And yeah, I thought it turned out as good as I could make it turn out in a pandemic semester. But yeah, thank you guys for watching it. I hope you guys like it. And yeah, that's it.
Just a reminder that this showcase is on criticalmediashowcase.org. You can go ahead and scroll along while people are talking. I think that would make more sense maybe than screen sharing. I like to see everybody's faces. You want to call on someone?
Oh, at random?
Yeah.
Let's see, who's here from my section? How about Dawson?
Yeah, I can go. So my project, I'm Dawson. Nice to see all of you guys. My project is, it's called Call to Action. I sort of made it sort of like an extreme sports, climate change activism combination. So I have a lot of friends who work professionally in the outdoor industry. Some of them are climbing guides, whitewater rafting guides, skiing guides. And I took these people and I had them sort of write their reflections on the role the outdoors has played in shaping them as a human, and like how it plays such a big role in their personal growth. And I had them kind of share these stories over them doing whatever thing they're passionate about and however they interact within these places. So it's divided into 4 chapters. One of them's about, it's called Drift, it's about kayaking. One's called Ascension, about climbing. The third one's called Sub-Zero, which is about skiing. And then there's a reflection to kind of bring it all together. Yep.
Awesome, Dawson. Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah, Jess.
Hi, I'm Jess. I did a project. It was called What We Choose, and it's about a love story. So, and just like opening up to someone. And what I most enjoyed about it was how I incorporated little effects like the color or the glitches to resemble like certain internal feelings that can withhold us from opening up to other people. So yeah, it's just, I guess the theme of the story is that you can lose a lot if you open up to someone, but you could lose a lot more if you never do. So yeah.
Okay, let's see. Thank you, Jess. How about Kai?
Sure. My name is Ty. I did a photography project on kind of how people of, I guess, my age group have adapted to the pandemic, how we've all kind of had to make changes, and I've kind of dove into some of the mental struggles that came with all that. And it was one of the, I mean, some of the best photography work I've done in a while, and it was some of the most enjoyable. So, yep.
Thank you, Kai. And just a note, some folks have built out their own entire websites for their projects. And so you'll find those links on those showcase pages. And I encourage you to go visit their websites as well. How about Ryan and Rand? Where are you guys at?
I'm right
Oh.
here.
You want to start, Rand?
Yeah, sure. So our project, Elements of Harrow, is a acid western short film. It follows the character Elements of Harrow, who's a courier, and he has a magic compass and a magic bag. Compass tells him where he needs to go, and the bag has the important items that are in need whenever he gets there.
Yeah, and basically at the beginning of the semester, Eric challenged us to just make the best short film we could, and hopefully submit it to festivals. So I just want to say thank you. We tried. Yeah.
Can you guys just quickly say what your roles were on the project?
Oh, yeah. We both wrote and directed it. And then honestly, everything as far as editing, and we're both working on a soundtrack right now for it. There is some original music in there currently. And then I did a lot of the camera op and director of photography work. So Ryan, do you have anything to add? Sorry, this is really awkward with two people.
No, you summed it up. That's it.
Thanks, guys. It's a pretty epic cinematic piece.
Oh, let's see, Sean.
Yes, just wanted to extend my apologies. Sorry, the computer I'm using does not have access to video. But anyways, my name is Sean McGowan, and a little bit about me is I came to CU actually as an open option student, not knowing what I really wanted to study. But by the time I was a sophomore, I discovered CU's Critical Media Practices department and joined in. Can say that I'm really happy with the decision, as everyone in the department is super fun to work with, and just had a really good time in these past couple of years. So for my project, I thought it would be cool to photograph video games because I've played video games for a majority of my life, but have never really made a project out of it. So I thought it'd be fun. But I wanted to take it to the next step instead of just creating fan art. So I based the project around photography that shows off video game immersion techniques. And making the project was super fun as I got to experiment with in-game camera technology, which consists of many real-world photography aspects that I learned throughout my years here at CU. So within the project, you'll find images from 3 different video games spread across 4 different themes, showing how video game immersion is a very important aspect to a video game success and a reason why so many players play video games. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to all my past teachers and students here at CU for making these past 4 years an incredible experience.
Great, thank you, Sean. Elena.
Hello, I'm Elena, and I made a mini documentary on my family. I had them write love letters to themselves just to promote the ideas of mental health and self-awareness. I also gave a little bit of clips of our daily lives during quarantine, since we were given a pause in hustle culture right now. So I wanted to make something that reflects the times we were in.
Thank you. Carter?
Yeah, so I also did a mini documentary as well on the subject of my personal journey with fighting games. And I wanted to focus on that just because with the current pandemic, everyone's going to be spending a lot of time inside, and a lot of people are probably going to be playing video games, such as myself. And I wanted to also focus on fighting games because they're somewhat of a niche genre, and maybe this could get more people into it. And I also just wanted to focus on myself because of the journey that I had with going on to a quote unquote professional esports team. And I also just want to thank my past professors and my current professors for inspiring me. Everything came together on this project with pretty much every single class that I've taken, I think.
Thanks, Carter. Ben, tell us about your project.
Yeah, sure. I have several interests. Part of my kind of focus with the degree has been working a lot under Pat, doing stuff with the VR program and doing stuff with, I've done several like independent studies with him and stuff. So I wanted to just do something kind of surrounding something with VR development, but also incorporating some of the other passions that I have. And one of those is music. So my piece is called Gaia, and it's an alien world that I created that I wanted to take music and have the world evolve to the music based off of audio data that was received from it. And I think I achieved that to some extent, maybe not to what I fully wanted it. Some of the rocks vibrate and you'll see lights change colors, or the moon change stuff based on different frequencies that did it. And I ended up composing a piano piece that you hear in the background that kind of fits the ambience of the piece. And you just kind of walk around and explore the world while the music plays. And yeah.
I should point out that Ben's project, I believe, is downloadable, the software package itself, from the Showcase website. So if you feel like installing it, you can, and you can wander around his virtual alien world.
There's a Mac version and a PC version. So.
Oh, thanks, Ben. Kirsten.
Hi there, everybody. So my work for this showcase is a group of archival photos of Colorado overlaid with some artwork that I created myself that was heavily inspired by a lot of Native American art. And it also kind of has some retellings of a bunch of Native American myths associated with the animals I chose for my various artworks. Yeah, I had fun making it. I do feel like in hindsight, I maybe could have done something more, but I think a fair amount of people kind of feel the same way with this pandemic at the moment. But maybe I'll go back to it sometime and make something even better. So yeah.
Just point out that Kirsten's artwork does make up the image of the poster that was sent around, and the rest of them are just as beautiful as that one. George.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, how's it going? Good to see everybody. I'm George Mignani, and what I put together this semester was a 3-episode comedy web series based in the idea of a couple of roommates who are stuck in between the phase of postgrad life and the real world due to the ongoing global pandemic. The first episode was about a trip to the grocery store, the second about endeavors into online dating, and the third about robbing a house. And it was a super long process that kind of got started before the semester even began, so I was pretty happy with how the whole thing turned out.
All right, I think last but not least from my section, Mary Fleur.
Thank you. My name is Marifer Villarreal. I did the project called The Hand We're Dealt, and it is a series of images where there are playing cards with handwritten words on it that are also audio attached to those cards. And what those cards involve is myself going around to, in a safe COVID approved way, those around me, strangers at work and on campus, and really anyone I can get my hands on. And I asked them, what's something good, what's something not so good, and what's something you're looking forward to in the scope of 2020, and your hopes can be beyond this year. And the reason for that is that sharing exercise comes from a recitation that I took in my sophomore year, where it was called Rosebud Thorn or Popsicle, Poopsicle, Dreamsicle, anything of the sort. And it was a check-in exercise. And it stemmed from a class that I didn't really feel seen in. I felt kind of hidden and misunderstood. So when the pandemic came across and I just tried my best during this class, I found myself really lonely. And I started doing that exercise with myself of like, what's something good, something not so good, and something you're looking forward to today. And I realized that I was missing a key aspect of my academic career, and it was other people. I love connecting with other people and understanding their lives. So just in doing the project, like something new ignited in me. I felt like a person again, and that's something that I want to give to audience members. It's just a little glimpse into lives. I know it's unfair in a way to say like, here's a spotlight and then you get nothing else, but I think that's kind of the magic of interacting with people, is just how they touch you. And I just wanted to note that when I joined CMDP, I was really excited. Originally, I came in as a film major, and I said, I want to learn all the skills I can. And my entire academic career here has been so exciting and inspirational. And I want to let all of my instructors know that like you've had such an important part in my artistic growth. And I promise like each and every one of your classes, I went home bright-eyed, just like, this is what I learned today to my family members, because it's certainly a world I wouldn't have been able to explore on my own. So thank you to everyone else I've had in a class. You've all touched me in inspiring ways, and this project is for you too.
Thanks, Marifer. Did we get everyone? I think that's everybody that's here today. Speak up if I missed you.
Make sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it. Thank you guys for introducing yourselves and giving us those brief intros to your projects. If you guys want to see more, as Pat mentioned, there are recorded artist talks that everybody had to do that you can watch and see them speak more at length about the work that they've done, as well as obviously see the work itself. And now I think we have time for some questions for some of these artists. So if folks would like to ask anything, go for it. Now's the time.
I gotta leave in 3 minutes. If anybody's got a question, you better ask for me. You better ask now.
I have a question, and Shane, you can go first if you want to chime in on this one. But as you know, like I said, I know some of you from previous classes, so you know that like I'm fairly cliche. So if you were talking to your 2017 selves starting this program, what in your personal experiences, what are some of the seminal things that you feel like you've learned and you're going to take with you into the future in terms of expressing your voice, or maybe it's a technical skill that you feel like you've really turned the corner on or really want to continue working with? I'm just curious what some of your greatest kind of personal accomplishments have been over the last 4 years, because I know you all are so diverse in your interests and your technical aspirations. I'm just curious where you feel like you've made the most success.
Yeah, real quick before I leave, I would just say that the best skill I think I've gained from all of my professors is understanding my framework and doing the best that I can within that frame. Whether that be a time frame, a equipment frame, whatever. I think that was a really valuable lesson that every professor was able to instill in me and help me understand that it's not going to be what you picture it to be in the end necessarily, but you're going to get as close as you possibly can with the tools that you have. So yeah, thank you to all my professors. I got to take off, but I really appreciate everybody who was part of my academic career. Thank you.
Thanks, Shane. Good work.
I'd love to answer as well. For me, it would be the feeling of being uncomfortable and letting go. And this is something that I was able to experience in Keith's class that I wish I would have done like a million times and 10 years sooner. But when I joined the program and went to CU, I was such a tense person, and I would like secretly compete with everyone in the class, just thinking that like, oh, I have to make the best shots and look the greatest, because who I was as a person. And as soon as I was able to let go, experiment a little bit more, and just look forward to the good things around me, it helped my art so much more, and it helped me just connect with others so much more.
I would also echo that very same sentiment, but more than that, I would say it also like just especially this semester, I've learned to think about projects differently. And something else overall is I've just become more technical with like my software as well.
I think the main thing I would tell myself would be also kind of has to do with what Marifa said. But like I think for the most part I've been just so scared about doing something that's very different than the norm with this class, and like I don't have a huge number of skills with film or music or anything like that, but like I think I should embrace my own skill set and my own qualities of work, and yeah, maybe be happy with being different with that kind of stuff. So yeah.
I have a question. In sort of in the spirit of, I love Marifer. I don't think we got the chance to ever work together, but I really love this idea of the rose, the rose, the thorn, and the bud. This is something I do with my child every night. And I'm wondering, the global pandemic is really a thorn, and not to joke about it, and it has affected some of us more than others. But was there anything with this giant, restriction that helped you to creatively push yourself in ways that you might not have had the pandemic not occurred? Was there any silver lining in your creative work? And it's okay if the answer is no.
Is that a question for all of us, or I mean, you mentioned my project?
It's a question for all of you, but including you, if you'd like to answer it.
I mean, yeah, I had some hesitancy when it came to the topic because, like you said, it's not a joke. And on my website, I don't know if it came through, I had a glitch, but I wanted to make sure to like acknowledge the loss that has happened, like the loss and the suffering due to the pandemic. But it definitely pushed me to go beyond what I'm used to, because my project was plan B. I was supposed to be in person doing portraits, being in the lives of other people, being in their homes. And that was not something I could do anymore. And once I was able to realize that, it actually helped me explore the audio interface more, which is something that I also really am interested in.
For some of these projects, the situation that we're in is actually the kind of material that spurred their creative work, right? So I'm thinking of Elena, of your project. I'm thinking of Kai, and who else in here? I mean, George. Like, I mean, you've used it. I mean, while the pandemic is not a joke, George used it as fodder for comedy, right? As a way of dealing with it, and of kind of investigating a particular demographic and their experience with the pandemic, which is very specific to a very particular circumstance of having graduated college but not being allowed to leave, right? So I think that it has provided some silver lining for a lot of folks' projects.
Add, I know that, I mean, I think, there were several of you in my section, and I assume in Eric's too, that, like you just said, you basically executed your plan B, or maybe even plan C. And I just want to encourage everyone to not give up on those A plans, Like those projects are still there waiting in your heart. And hopefully you'll be able to go back to those ideas when, you know, it seems more feasible to execute them. So just, you know, I hope you don't see it as like the curtain coming down on those things forever, because I really think a lot of you are planning to do some interesting things that you adapted really well in the situation, but
I've still never made my plan A.
it's still there waiting.
It's just waiting.
That sort of leads me to my question for the group, which at first I just want to say I'm really proud is not maybe the right word. It sounds kind of weird, but like I'm really happy for all of you having kind of seen you at the front end of this experience, and now to be able to see the work you've done. But what I know I was quipping earlier about never actually being done with anything or finishing it, just being done with it. But I was curious if any of you were thinking about taking some of these projects and expanding them out. I know a couple of you mentioned that, but I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about take these and maybe expand them into other media or like larger projects.
Well, I know Ryan and I aren't quite finished with Elements of Harrow. We're still working on the rest of the soundtrack. There's a few little edits that we want to make, just tighten things up, make it the best thing we can, and submit it to some film fests. Hopefully get in under some student submissions and short film submissions. But our whole idea when this started is like, this story is like one issue of a comic book series of like a Western pulp fiction sort of. So if it sees some success, hopefully it can get a larger budget and possibly potentially more screen time. I think that'd be super cool.
Maybe just a comic book. That'd be cool too.
I agree. That would be cool.
This isn't like a continuing project, but I was able to utilize the like opportunity of my capstone to like put it into multiple platforms for other classes, which I was really excited about. I did the Foley for kind of an intro scene that isn't on the site yet because it had a different deadline. But I played a game of solitaire with the cards, kind of add a little layer of poeticness to it. And I did the Foley for that. And in Pat's class, I made an AR version of the display I have at home. So the playing cards are actually displayed on the back of my office wall. So they're my usual Zoom background. And I, with the help of Pat, we put it in an AR app where you could technically like put it in your wall and listen to the audio there.
I'm curious to know if any of you had really surprising moments of discovery about media that you hadn't really bonded with before, or modes or genres that emerged as central to your work that were quite unexpected.
Maybe for me, it might have not been so much just for this project, but over my course as a CMDP student, photography really took over for me. My starting interest in media was definitely a lot more cinematography and broadcast journalism based. And I just checked out a camera for like an intro project and some class I was taking my my first year as a CMDP major. And I completely changed from there, and it was just everything was photography. And it became one of my biggest passions, kind of took over my life. So
Thanks. I really appreciated the portfolio that you put forward. I think it's going to, with time, reveal more insight to you even than what you've discovered today.
Real quick, I think too, one of the strengths of this department is the fact we can check out equipment for free. because it opens up avenues for us to, find new things we could be interested in. And it also makes it possible to achieve things in the medium you are interested in. So keep that around, keep the free equipment around.
Yeah, I would like to say that, while we are a program that tends to privilege nonfiction, we have a lot of strong fiction producers that come out of our degree. And I think that using a kind of research-based approach to creating fiction. I mean, I'm thinking of Jonathan Reeds. He's not here with us. He's not here today, but Jonathan, made a kind of an ethnofiction project about mental illness during COVID and all the kind of pressures that come about with that. But it was research-based, based in experience. Has a very strong nonfiction ethic, even though it is a fiction project. And I think even Ryan and Rand's project, though it is directly inspired by a lot of fiction film, it comes from a socially responsive practice that they both have. And so while we are a nonfiction program, we have a lot of really strong fiction work coming out.
Yeah, I think one thing that's really great about a showcase like this is not only the sort of individual skill set that you bring to it, but it's this time in your studies here where you were asked to make a choice, right? What is the best tool to get the message across that you're trying to say? Some of you did it in fiction-based film. Some of you did it in documentaries. Some used photography and illustration. Some of you used VR and AR. Some of you used maybe audio heavy projects. But the point is, through your training and through identifying your interest, you're picking and identifying the tool in the toolbox that's going to get your message across in the best way possible, or the way that you want to send it out into the world. And to be able to see a collection of work like that in one spot from a group of students who are such offering such a breadth of experiences in their lives is really, really cool. And I think I've maybe said something like that at the beginning, but I think it's really great to see, the sort of like shotgunning effect of picking your media and going out and saying something with it.
And I want to chime in here and just say too, I think a lot of what the work you've been doing is showing the audience, in this case us, you, right? It actually really speaks a lot to who you are, and even from 1400 starting out, like the whole point is these are just tools. What you're actually conveying to people and what you're communicating is you and the things you're passionate about and the things that you're really about. And to that end, I did have a specific question I wanted to ask Elena in terms of your piece. Like, were there things that you learned about you that you didn't necessarily know before embarking on what is a relatively personal journey?
For me, I think I learned more about just I have capability in general. I basically never left the house this whole semester, so I really had to work with everything that I had. But then looking into my family stories, like hearing their letters, and then just seeing a little bit more connection with the people that I've lived with all my life, it was really interesting to see the stories that were right in front of me that I never got to see before.
Do we have any more questions for our artists? Just checking the YouTube chat. Looks like
I have specific questions, if I may. Thank you. Yeah, thank you all for showing the work. It's exciting to click around on. I had a specific question for Kirsten, which I pronounce in Danish. I don't know if that's the proper way, but can you tell me a little bit about the significance of the archival photos that you're using? I'm interested in them, looking at them, and just like what is their significance? Where are they from? What have you discovered in finding them? Thank you.
Oh, okay, thanks. Well, for one thing, I wanted to be sure that I started this project. Well, this is technically my plan B, just to start with. I wanted to be sure that I could do this project with as little potential coming into contact with other people as possible. So that was definitely a big part of that decision. However, I also have always had an interest in anthropology of many different kinds, of many different peoples. So I wanted to involve both like the more recent cultural developments and like landscapes of Colorado, as well as referencing much older elements of culture that and have inhabited Colorado and continue to inhabit Colorado, and like the remaining Native American tribes that are still living in Colorado. So yeah, I kind of went on this adventure looking through all these different archives online of photos from Boulder and Denver and whatnot, and yeah, I just picked the ones that fascinated me the most. I think, like particularly the one with the Christmas scene. There was just so much interesting life to see there, but also like an emptiness that I felt like I could fill with my artwork. And scenes of Denver at night, I thought those were interesting as well, because most of the archive photos in there were of daytime, and I just liked the unusual kind of mood they had. Yeah, I'd say that was pretty much the main thoughts that were going through my head as I chose those. Thank you for your question.
All right, last chance to query the artists here. Tama.
Congratulations, everyone. As Lauritz also said, it's really been a pleasure to click around your work a little bit for the past few days. I'm also happy to see some of you who have been maybe in real or virtual classrooms with me before. It's always nice when we can, in Andy's terms, get done with projects such as this one. And this has been a multi-year project. I mean, college for most of you that you're now either completed or preparing to leave behind. So I'm wondering, on that note, it's not the best moment to make plans, of course, but I'm wondering what some of your thoughts are for 2021, and how do you see your ability, or maybe even your dreams or your possibility to pursue creative work like the one you have pursued for the past few semesters beyond your undergraduate experience? It would be, I think, really interesting to hear the breadth of plans, even though it's not, again, the best time to make plans, but I think we can inspire each other. So it's a question basically to everyone, I guess, to each of you presenting artists.
Well, for me, my directions kind of goes all the way back to Andrew Young's class, the first classes I took. He had a few lectures just on intellectual property, and I thought it was, the most interesting thing, some of the most interesting stuff I've learned. So I added a philosophy minor and started preparing for law school, so I can kind of study contract law and intellectual property. So that's kind of my plan for now. It's kind of a different direction from where my capstone project went, but yeah, it's a little exciting. So
fingers crossed.
I actually had a student who went on to specialize in videography for lawyers, and that's what he does for a living right now. So, there are so many different avenues and options.
Well, I might just make a comment on that. And well, maybe others wanted to answer that question. I'd be so curious to hear more answers. Let me wait for that first.
So I'll just call on people I know. Elena, George, Sean. Tell us, share some of those plans maybe if you can.
Yeah, George, what are you going to be up to?
I am hoping to kind of combine what I learned within the realm of media and within business as well. I was a dual major in operations management. I'm in media production and work toward a career in digital content marketing. So I'd like to be able to take the lens I've kind of created in terms of my personal aesthetic of storytelling and be able to apply that to furthering the narrative of brands or organizations. Hopefully within the music industry, that's kind of my long-term goal, but ultimately, yeah, being able to build brand narrative in a variety of ways as time goes on here. So yeah.
I want to make movies. So maybe a little unrealistic and potentially challenging to do so, but it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I'll write your grad school recommendation.
Grad school?
Yeah.
You think I want to go to grad school after this?
I'm just joshing your end.
Right now, I'm looking at grad school options. I'm also applying for just jobs and stuff around the Boulder area, seeing whatever comes first. If I can find one that fits me, I'll stick with that and then do the other later.
What kind of grad school programs?
I'm not sure right now. A lot of more technology-based stuff. I like the technical side of kind of the VR stuff, and so I was part of TAM as well, and I wanted to explore more of kind of that side of technology and where that'll lead. Like I love media production, but it's a lot more of the creative side of things, which I think is a good outlet, but I think I want both that and the technical side of things as well. So looking into various options. I was talking with Pat about it a couple days ago. So
Just remember when you guys go out and are extremely, extremely successful, that all your donations to critical media practices are tax deductible. Okay. So don't forget.
I don't think I'm just donating to CU. Like it's only going to CMDP.
You can write that in, explicitly. No, I think it's really exciting to hear all these different paths, and just a reminder to you all to stay in touch with each other. It turns out, as you move through life, that these networks are so essential to sustaining your creative active life and passion, but also to forming really interesting pathways in professionally, right? Think about the intersections as you stay in touch between just the examples that the three of you gave just now. I kind of came up through an art program that was much more the kind of solitary artist in a garret model. And by the time I reached grad school, I realized how much I'd missed in not recognizing that it's all about the relationships that you build and the inspirations that you draw from each other and the support you can provide to each other. And that's a kind of creative skill of its own. So don't forget to foster and cultivate that.
Thank you for those inspiring words. I would just also like to share my sort of plans moving forward. I'm definitely looking in the job market for like event photography, things of that sort, just because I want to continue using the technologies that I've learned. And it's not technology, it's not like CMDP focused, but I'm really excited that I was invited to join the Northern Colorado YMCA Board of Directors. So that's something that I'll be endeavoring and hopefully get some great connections there.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been in my classes before, you've probably heard me jabber on about how probably the least important thing in the classroom is listening to me jabber on, and it's really being there with peers who have that shared interest who are all working together toward a similar goal, to see how each other solve creative problems, to learn from that, and also to build those professional relationships, those personal relationships, and those networks that will be the way that you move through a career in media production, right? You will lean on these relationships as you move forward. And that's what really this is all about. It's getting into the same room together, even more important than the subject matter, even more important than, you know, Andy's or Pat's or my lectures, right? About how to use a camera, right? Because the button on the camera will change position all the time, and you'll need to read a new manual tomorrow for whatever technology comes out. But fundamentally, you have people, right, in your world, in your media producing world, and that is the greatest asset that I think you have. So yeah, I'll let maybe Sarah have the last word here then, because that's my that's my words of encouragement for you. And you know, media build our world, and you guys are going to be part of building that and determining, you know, in some way the course of history.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree, and it's a shame that this feels maybe a little anticlimactic as a celebration, but this really is all about the work that you guys did this semester. And I think a huge strength is, although you wouldn't have wanted it probably, but you, almost all of you had like a crash course in adapting and in like keeping an incredibly open mind this semester, or the last couple semesters probably, but especially with this project, you know, the capstone project gets a lot of sort of pressure put on it. And I think like external and internal pressure. And I think taking that lesson of adapting and keeping an open mind and realizing that your interests are going to keep changing and growing. And that is like something that will really serve you well after this college experience is over. And you've all done a really like demonstrated that this semester. And I'm really impressed with all of you. So congratulations again. And yeah, keep in touch, as everyone has said. That's it.
I think that's it. Thank you guys so much. You are the chefs now.
Thank you, chef.
Thank you, chef.
Thank you, head chef.
Thank you, chef.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Okay.